What be the haps? I be Morocco, and today I'll be taking a quick look at Pirates of the Burning Sea. This is a game I'm not going to do in a pirate accent all the way through, but nonetheless, it is something I wanted to cover on the channel for a while. I wanted to do this for International Talk Like a Pirate Day, and that never came about, mostly because the game is really difficult to record. So I'm capturing this using XSplit, which I've never used before, and I don't think it's quite as high quality as my normal software, so apologies if it doesn't look quite as shiny as things normally do. I think the video's lower quality, honestly. But not a lot I can do about this. This is literally the only software that exists that can capture this game, that I'm aware of anyway. So, I am a pirate. I am Kailantria Minchin, Kailantria being my old druid name from WoW days. This was before I started even using the handle Marocca, and Lord knows where the hell I got the name Minchin from, but whatever. I am a pirate lady, and we sail the seas and shoot things and loot things, and honestly, I've gushed about this game on my channel on many occasions, because I genuinely do think it's probably one of the best pirate games that exists. And you may be looking at it and going, well, it kind of doesn't look like it. No, it's looking a little rough these days. This game came out in January of 2008. It's in a few months' time. This game will be 9 years old, which I'm not sure whether it's testament to how good the game is that I still think it's one of the best pirate games of all time, or how utterly sorry the state of the pirate genre is in video gaming that nobody else has actually managed to make anything worthwhile in the last 9 years. One of the two is true. I actually have a feeling it may be more the latter, to be honest, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to take a look at why I think this thing is so amazing for a game that I never actually made it to end game, by the way, and I've only ever played sporadically over the course of those years. I still kind of occasionally come back to it from time to time because it is a joy to be in this world, even if it doesn't look amazing. So, if we press M, I can bring up an overview of the map. That is a familiar-looking real-world map, or should hopefully be a familiar-looking real-world map, because it is based on real-world places. This game is set in the Caribbean in the 17th, 18th century, something like that, sometime during the Age of Exploration, and the New World, as it were, setting forth to conquer things. And you can see a few sort of antique flags kind of going on. Yeah, you got the... I don't know what you would describe that as. I presume there's a name for that flag. That's France. That is France. That's not your modern tricolore. That's an oldie France flag. But that is France. France is one of the factions. Britain, obviously, was heavily involved in the Age of Exploration. They have a faction in this. They are another faction. We have Spain. Spain is very important in the Age of Exploration. So those are the three sort of nation factions. And, of course, pirates are involved in all this as well, because, you know, where would we be in the Age of Exploration without a few pirates here and there? So each of these dots on the map is a location we can visit. You can see this little black dot here is Tortuga in the Antilles, which is the pirate capital of the world. It is our capital, so it cannot be conquered. It's a nice safe haven for pirates to always retreat to. There's a few other ones that are safe. There's like some starting islands that that port may not be conquered, because that is where new pirates will spawn into the world. So yeah, other players can't take them. But as I have implied, all of these ports can be fought over and contested and taken by different factions, where everyone is vying for control. And you can see the little red marks on the map. They kind of indicate where fighting is breaking out. So if you pick fights in that area, you're going to generate this red area, which was called unrest. Within these red areas, PvP can take place, so people can start attacking each other, which will generate even more unrest. And when it reaches a certain threshold, it will just trigger a massive scale. I think like 40v40 is it? Or maybe just 20v20. Either way, there's a lot of ships involved. It's a big endgame thing, I've not been involved in it. But yeah, you get a big pitched battle that takes quite a while and involves quite a lot of ships and quite a lot of resources, and eventually one side walks away with control of that port. And then they get to own it, and the first expansion of the game actually implemented a system that's allowed people to be essentially governor of each port and set limits on the trading and things. So you can then say, oh, well, I'm a pirate and I own this port. Screw the Spanish, I don't like the Spanish, so we're going to tax all the Spanish who want to do any business at this port by like 80%. So you get to set that. You have powers and controls. So for those who really want to invest in themselves in the game, there's a lot to get involved in. So I'm hanging around here because I think this is the shop, because this kind of lets us look at that kind of trading aspect of things before we even ever remotely get close to the sea. This is more convenient thing to show you, because I'm gonna have to pick this game apart section by section just because there is so much to show you. So yeah, economy is a major part of this. We've got all these ports, and as I mentioned, we can set tax rates and things on these things because people are going to be able to craft things and trade things and do things. So over here in this one, I think we obviously can't build a whole lot of things in Tortuga, and there's not a lot going on in Tortuga. It is mostly just the capital. But if we have a look at some of the other things, Whitby is where I've set up shop, doing a lot of stuff. You get to build. You're allowed to build, I believe, 10... Yeah, in fact, they are down here as well. You're allowed to build, indeed, 10 structures in the world. Most of them I have not used in recent times. You do need to pay a bit of money on the regular to keep them up and running, otherwise they will be shuttered and you cannot use them. But otherwise, you can use them to continually craft things from whichever location you're at, whatever natural resources they have. So in Whitby, we have access to... They have... public docks, so that basically that's the first bit that allows you to construct structures. So the fact that I think Tortuga just did not have that. Yeah, no, I can't build those there. Beyond that, we have abundant game. So if we want to collect meat, hide, furs, if we want those things for crafting anything, we're going to be able to do that here. We have fertile soil. If we're wanting to grow any kind of crops, we can do that here. If we have fertile soil for sugar, well, this place is well suited for sugar. Forest fir, if you want fir, wood, and Sabiku dock up arrow resource underscore wood underscore Sabiku. That seems like that's some tooltip text that should have been fixed some point within the last 9 years, but whoops, I've never heard of a Sabiku wood, honestly, if I'm honest. And granite, which allows you to, well, mine granite. So then down here I have a woodcutter's camp, which allows me to collect the wood from things. So if I pay the fee, what is the upkeep here? 53 doubloons, I could probably do that, but I don't have any provisions, so I'm not going to be able to do that anyway. That I think is new, actually, since last I looked at this. I don't know when the heck they've added provisions. I don't remember a provisions thing, but either way, we can go have a look at some of the other things. We've got a basic quarry, a gravel pit. So because there is stone available, we can mine gravel out. I'm actually not really sure what gravel does, but there is so much, and so much to craft, and it's so complex, and the ingredients list to craft anything are often huge. There will be something for gravel, but I don't know what. So yeah, I do need camp provisions for all of these things, so I guess I would probably need to go around buying these things. But yeah, as you can see, with that I can then excavate gravel. And an excavate gravel takes 1 hour and 23 minutes to excavate one unit of gravel. And as you can see at the bottom down here, if I hover over that, if you're not using a building, it will store labor as a stored resource for up to 3 days. So if you've not done anything with that building for 3 days, you can just expend 3 days worth of work immediately. So I would be able to, whatever 3 days times 24 hours divided by 1 1/3 is, would give you that many units of gravel, roughly speaking. And it cost me a tiny bit of money to do that. It cost me 5 doubloons per unit, but then I will get a whole bunch of gravel, and then we can take it and sell it on to the other players. So yeah, there's tons and tons and tons of those things. So we should not talk to the fence. He's not going to help us. He's going to sell. He's going to do things with stolen goods. But we are here for the auction house, which is kind of interesting. I think it's a very interesting part of the game, which is to say that if you're trading things in an MMO, normally everything just kind of flies through the ether, right? You trade something to another player via an auction house, it doesn't matter where they are in the world, boop, things just magically appear in mailboxes. That's where it goes. You magically get the money, they just send you it via PayPal, I guess. And I guess in a sci-fi world, I guess that makes some sort of sense that maybe things could be materialized, but a lot of games really aren't in a sci-fi world, and so that doesn't make a lot of sense. World of Warcraft, it doesn't make any sense. They're just like, yeah, it just kind of gets hand-waved. Just like, yep. Stuff you bought, it's in your mailbox. It just appeared instantly. Here, no, we have to trade things. We have to go to places. So I can shop in Tortuga. We can have a look for whatever things are being auctioned in Tortuga. These are all the things that are available to buy in Tortuga. Mostly ships, by the looks of things. Mostly people are just selling ships to each other. Although there's some ship outfitting stuff there. We've got some cannons, a few resources and things. All sorts of stuff that's going to be used for crafting and whatnot. But maybe the people who are selling them in Tortuga aren't going to give us the best price. I mean, there are ship deeds and there are ship deeds captured. I should note that pirates can only use captured ships, whereas the other 3 nations can use ordinary ships, and they function slightly differently, but maybe that's getting a little too deep into that right now. Let's just have a quick look at the ships that I can use that are available to buy here. Apparently the answer is none. Apparently there are none in Tortuga, which is not really helpful to what I was trying to find out, actually. Maybe we should just look for cannon ammunition. That's probably quite a common resource. There we go. So, say we want heavy round shot. Again, this may be a bad example because I have a feeling this will be a fairly standard common going price, but currently heavy round shot, there's loads of this for sale. Everybody's selling heavy round shot. It's a common resource, everyone needs it to load their cannons, and it's currently going for 150 per crate of 100? Yeah, per crate of 100. You get, one crate of 100 cannonballs costs you 150 doubloons. That's fine, but maybe if I were to go sail over to Matthew Town, be a little bit cheaper? No, there's none for sale in Matthew Town. Okay, fine. Well, let's just go with ore. Let's just have a shop around. Should we just have a look, see where things go? So heavy round shot. In fact, it's the same price everywhere. So, as I said, that kind of was probably a fairly bad example. But maybe if we were shopping around for bronze round shot, and hypothetically, we were shopping in Guernica? Is that how you pronounce that one? I think that's how you pronounce it. Guernica? Something like that. Either way, it costs 999 a crate there, but were you willing to sail the distance between Tortuga and Guernica, you could sail to Tortuga and pick it up at a discount at 896, or maybe if I'm really desperate for it and I want to save those extra 56 doubloons a crate, I could sail from here to Matthew Town and do that. How far away is Matthew Town? Matthew Town is 60 miles, so it's not that far at all, actually. That might be well worth my time. So we can bring up the map, we can find M on here. I mean, I guess if you invested more time, you'd know where things are pretty easily, but Matthew Town is there. So it's literally just across to the nearby island there. Matthew Town is right there, and I can go pick up the cannonballs that I'm looking for slightly cheaper over there, which is good. These are good things. These are wonderful things. That's great. So yeah, there's a lot of travel involved in this. There's a lot of trade. You might want to invest in trade. You may want to take a big ship with lots of storage and take things around to get the best price, or to pick up things on the cheap and then take them to an area and do some trading. And of course, if you're going to craft things, if you're wanting to, say, build your own ship from raw resources, well, firstly, you're probably going to want to shop around to get all the parts, but then you're going to need all those parts in the same place in order to build a ship. It's no good you having all the parts to build your ship if, some of them are sat in a port in Tortuga and your careening camp for putting a ship together or whatever might be, you might have it built over in Santa Clara. Well, that's no good. You're going to need to load up your ship in Tortuga and sail across the Caribbean just in order to actually build your ship. I think I'm heading back to the port now. Yes, I am. Cool. This city is so big and sprawling and complex that it does have lots of shortcuts, which is actually quite a nice touch. Yeah, this is the pirate city. It's horrifying. Each of these little X's you can use to teleport around the place as little kind of smuggling run kind of shortcuts, which is useful and convenient. So it's a nice touch. So yeah, it's about time we set sail onto the seas and gave you a feel for these things. Let's have a look at the ships and how they go. To the open seas! Onwards! Okay, so now we're at sea. This is a scene that is may look vaguely familiar to those who kind of saw my the Florenzia stuff, because you got this ring around your ship and it functions in a similar kind of fashion. I can, for whatever reason, pivot on the point, which I'm reasonably certain ships can't do, but we'll let that one particular historical inaccuracy slide. So I need to get my bearings. We could probably stand to have a look, see where we are on the open seas, and indeed which way. The one thing is it doesn't really give you much idea of bearings and which way you're facing on this one, so you can click on a port, I think, and it'll tell you where it is, maybe? Or it might be just through the quest log, actually, come to think of it. But we've got Matthew Town over there, so that kind of gives me some bearings, because we were just looking at where Matthew Town was. So we can see where the wind's coming from, and we can see where my ship excels, and unfortunately, kind of the direction it doesn't excel is the direction I kind of want to be going. I could go that way around and follow the currents, because I'm thinking I want to be over here, but ideally, really, I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and sail into the wind for a little bit. Which is going to, bring us to an absolute standstill. Again, similar system to Florenzia, although I should hasten to point out that I'm pretty certain this game came out before Florenzia. Not by a lot, because I think they came out the same year, but they have a very similar kind of... you accelerate up to full speed, and then your ship just kind of keeps going. And yeah, you just follow the routes. Those giant, terrifying underwater markings in fact imply the direction of underwater currents, but I've got to tell you, the first time I saw that I was like, holy crap, it's a kraken and I'm about to be eaten. It's not a kraken, it's these arrows. Those are actually, you actually see them in the overworld. Much as you can, you know, see the names of the ports over them, which is that's a really nice touch. It's kind of mappy, but also, I don't know, it's kind of got an oldie worldy map kind of vibe without actually being on a map. It's just something to give you a point of reference so you know where you are in the world. And if you're in the right place in the world, it even does that, yeah, with entire continents or regions in the world. So there's the entire area of Hispaniola. So now that you know you're coming into a different territory, and each of the different regional auction houses is linked. I mean, further to the auction house thing and the trading, not only do you have to travel to different ports to pick things up, but you've got, as I say, there's different regions. We've got the Antilles. We've got, I guess this is Hispaniola, is it? Cuba is its own thing unto itself. Florida, and there's loads and loads of other little subsections of the map. And each of them kind of has their own regional auction house thing going on. And whilst you can buy resources from any other port in that region, you can browse the auction house and just find something. So I could buy something from, I could buy something from Matthew Town while I was in Tortuga, to reuse that example. I still have to travel there. But if I want to buy something from Florida, I can't buy things from Florida without being in Florida. I have to physically travel to Florida in order to be able to buy things there and browse any of the auction houses there. So again, there's an element of, do you have some sort of insider trading knowledge? That's kind of cool. Maybe if you're working with a guild, someone who's like, hey, can you give me some knowledge here? Maybe that's, again, kind of perhaps breaking with the theme of things and the historical accuracy, because, you know, you wouldn't be able to just talk to a guildmate. You wouldn't be able to just get on the blower to a guildmate in the 17th century, but still, nonetheless, you could perhaps message a guildmate. It's like, hey, is anyone in Florida? Can you just check the auction house, see what's the going rate on a Hercules? A ship called there's a ship type called Hercules. I'm looking to sell one of those. I'm looking for the best price on it. Can anyone tell me what the current going rate is on Herculeses in Florida? Because I might be able to get a better price on them than I can in Hispaniola. And if it's a considerable price difference and worth my while, these are all hypotheticals, because in a lot of these instances it probably really isn't worth your while, maybe you would want to sail all the way up against the currents up to Florida, or you could cut along the lower side of Cuba and around, go with the currents, which gives you a little bit of a speed boost. I'm not sure sailing against the currents actually slows you down, but sailing with the currents certainly does speed you up. So you may be kind of getting the vibe here from the fact that there's a lot of nothing going on. But yeah, if you're wanting to do all this trading, you're going to have to invest in these journeys. You're going to have to commit yourself to a lot of sailing. And to that end, I think this game kind of may well appeal to the kind of people who like Eve, to a certain degree. Eve is notorious for having quite a considerable amount of doing nothing and flying through space for a long period of time before you ever get to anything interesting. And perhaps the same could be said of this. I think it may tap into a similar kind of appeal to people. Personally, I just like sailing. I like cruising across on the ocean blue for a while. And often I find myself, I was like, well, I've got to get to the other side of the Caribbean now, so I'm just going to put some YouTube videos on my other monitor and just kind of ride the waves for a bit. And we're going for a cruise. So I know where I'm headed. Right now I'm headed towards kind of Cartagena, Cape de Vela. I know there's somewhere... I'm actually not sure where I need to be right now. I had some quests at some stage, but Lord only knows. I can probably find them if I were to actually click on them and find things. Blinded by Science is a little above my level, but Little Friendly Persuasion is... Booby Cay is near Tortuga. Shoot, I've just left there. Taming of the Shrewsbury is Tortuga. I've just left there. Crap, Tortuga. I am leaving where all my quests were. There's a 27 one near Guernica. Well, where was Guernica? That was the Antilles. I'm heading completely the wrong way for where I need to be. Never mind. Never mind. Let's sail around and see things. So we are coming down towards deserty looking things. Actually, you know what? This map is huge, and I honestly don't think I've ever actually been around this kind of end of the map. This is where the heck are we? This must be Mexico. Yeah, this is Mexico, right? This is Mexico getting into South America kind of thing. We've got a very deserty kind of thing going on. Almost maybe getting a Monument Valley-ish kind of. Is it Monument Valley? What's the valley with the hoodoos? I don't know, hoodoos. That's what I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm getting. Hoodoos. Yeah, they're hoodoos. They're definitely some hoodoos. Whoa, that's cool. I've never been over here. So yeah, a lot of different regions to the game, and they're all kind of cool because I've not seen these before. This is actually really amazing. Yeah, I like exploring, and if you like exploring, this is definitely the thing. I do need to get to somewhere where there is actually genuinely going to be a naval battle, and I'm probably going to have to cut away because I don't think I can keep talking until I get to one. But yeah, this is if you want to do trading, there's probably going to be a lot of this, and that's clearly not going to be for everyone, which probably explains why the game is, you know, got dropped by Sony for not doing as well as Sony wanted the game to be doing, but so this is not a hugely roaring MMO, but it is still ticking along. It still has a player base. It's still successful today. You can see in the chat there are people still talking away, different society chats and nation chats and whatnot going on. So there's plenty of people. I mean, I'm surprised I'm still in a society. Actually, I thought I would have been removed from that by now, but whatever. Either way, yeah, there are people playing, there are people talking, there are people doing things. The giant port battles do still happen. It's all good. It's all very good, and I'm glad to see it still around. And yeah, as I say, it's not. In spite of that, it's not going to be for everyone. I don't think anybody can just pick up this and go, "Yes, this game is great." The fact that I've quit the game on multiple occasions tells you that, well, you know, when you get down to it, maybe the game's not even for me. But I don't know. There's just a lot of elements of it that I think work really nicely, and I think I like the game in principle mostly. I like what this game represents. I like what this game can be. Oh, I don't know where I'm headed. Where am I supposed to be headed? I'm almost headed to Port Royal probably at this stage. So I somehow managed to arrive in the one town that I can't actually particularly pronounce. Guernica, whatever the heck you want to call it. This is somewhere down in the Spanish area of the world really, but currently owned by pirates. That's fine by me. It has quests for everybody. It has various things. We have a tavern over here. Shorty's Public House. We have a town boss's office there. We'll probably have quests in them, sort of places one might pick up quests. It's pretty wowy, you know. Find someone with an exclamation mark over the head, probably a quest. These will be our class trainers for different sort of fighting styles that we can have in the game. It's all just different types of hitting things with pointy things, except for that guy who likes hitting things with his bare hands. So not a great deal of variety. You're not going to find any mages in here, really, to be honest. So yeah. Different fighting styles. The fighting, you can see all the abilities kind of on the hotbar down here. We've got a few stances, like a defensive stance that gives you a little bit more parry. And honestly, I don't think this is necessarily the strongest suit of the game. We have a bunch of melee abilities and ranged abilities. I carry a pistol around with me because I'm a pirate, obviously. We can throw a grenade that just counts as a ranged ability. It's just like one ranged cooldown thing. And for the most part, it's not the most compelling of combat systems. Really, what we want is naval combat, so we're going to talk to this guy and do a naval quest, because I believe on my quest bar we have... What have I got? Is it honest wages? One of these is one guarding the goods. No, taming of the Shrewsbury. Tortuga. On the beach? Tobacco. One of these was Guernica, and I can't find it now. Oh, Yauco Beach near Guernica. So, yeah, some of them are kind of... Some of the quest areas are defined as being near somebody, which basically means you talk to this guy, he will take you out on a boat to wherever you need to be. And so, because this is near Guernica, we'll catch a little dinghy from Guernica, and he will take us to go and sink a bunch of pirates, is basically what this one is. So let's go do that. Honest wages. Let's earn ourselves some honest wages. So this will take us to an instance area, really, is what this is. All these quests are kind of going to be instanced. We are gonna hop on in and set sail. Set sail. So defeat the pirates attacking the outpost. There's a little town here that Doesn't appear to have any obvious health bars or anything, but because the ports are actually a thing. Sometimes ports will have, you can attack and destroy ports, and they will have their health bars. That's a lovely sunset, but they will attack you back as well, and they're quite powerful. And eventually you might be able to board them and attack them on foot, which is kind of crazy and insane, but there you go. These guys are incoming. They have the circle in the middle is going to be their health. The bars at the side and front and back are the armor on the various sides of the ship. So that's the front of the ship, that's the rear of the ship, the prow and stern, what's it? Bow, it's a bow, that's what it is. Bow and stern and port and starboard. They've obviously got most armor on the sides and less armor on the front, and least armor altogether on the rear of the ship, on the stern. That's where it's going to be weakest. For some reason I'm finding that a lot of my key bindings seem to have either unbound themselves, or I don't know if it's some weird artifact of XSplit, because XSplit is kind of weird. I'm recording this the second time now anyway, because it already lost a bunch of audio first time around, which was not fun if I'm honest, but here we are. Normally spacebar would fire all cannons that are within this firing arc and at whichever enemy you have targeted. It's fairly straightforward. I'm taking a lot of damage here, so I'm going to try and spin around, try and take damage on a different side, and maybe burn one of these guys down. My ship should be good enough to take these guys down, I would have thought. I have abilities if I need to use them anyway, and we're going to use various resources for that. Some of them will require sacrificing some of my healthy crew. Some of them will require some of my morale, which is the yellow bar. Ouch, that was a lot of damage on the front as I brought it around. That's kind of not fun. Yeah, we need to get in closer, and that guy is... which one's smaller? Weirdly enough, the ship that looks bigger is actually the lower level and weaker one. So we can hit it with a couple of debuffs, reduce some of its stats, make it a little easy to kill. Using spacebar to fire would probably make my life a lot easier. We've got plug leaks, which is going to use a little bit of morale, which regenerates slowly over time, but that's going to allow us to... that's going to repair some of the damage we've taken. So, fire roll on that side, spin around to the other side, fire roll again on that side, full broadside. I'm still getting repaired up here, because that repairs over time, so that's okay. I could afford to put some of these toggles on, because that have got various things, defense, probably a good one to put on as well. A lot of these basically reduce my maximum morale, so I have less resources to use when I'm actually actively using abilities on enemies. In fact, some of them require like 50 morale, so I've now reduced it to 40, so I can't even afford to use some of my abilities. But all of those are going to give me various passive stat buffs, so I'm going to get better attack power, I'm going to get better maneuverability, just a little bit, but it may make a difference in a battle. So we've got the armor down on this guy, so we're going to be... some of our shots are going to be getting through and doing structural damage now. We are taking some shots kind of towards the stern from that ship over there, so I'd rather try and get my side towards it if I can. Firing these shots off. Eventually, with NPC ships, they will probably, if you do enough damage to them, tend to abandon ship. In some instances, maybe they have a more hardy crew and might perhaps not, but a lot of them tend to. Depends on them. These are pirates, so maybe they'll stick with it a bit longer than like maybe a merchant vessel or something would. I'm actually maybe in quite a bad position here. I thought I had a fairly easy run here, but honestly I've got very little armor on my right hand side. I'm sailing into the wind, I'm not going anywhere very quickly. I don't want to bring her around to the side that's got more armor on, and I haven't got any actual other resources to fix things up with, so it's kind of gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. I may need to do a runaway kind of soonish. Come on, there we go. Good old broadside. I wish they kind of wish they'd abandoned the ship now. I've got a few other things that will let me get out. Target officers is not useful, but I have a couple of emergency escape things. Too mean to die. Reduces all incoming damage to 50%. I want that. I might actually sink here. I think they may well be sunk. They've got so little armor, and I haven't taken them down very effectively at all. This guy's still on full health. I haven't brought any healing items with me. This is not my most effective ship, honestly. My main problem here is that actually my good ship I'd lost fairly recently when I got in over my head. And there we go. I have sunk. My health was depleted, so that was that. I suppose other things to point out before we return to port is with different types of shots, you can bring up different kinds of shots in the ammunition bar over there, and they will let you do like structural damage, like chain shot will let you damage the sails, which have their own values. When that hits 0, ship will obviously be immobilized. You can target the crew, which will make them less effective at doing what they do. I'm not sure specifically what that does. The game's never very explicit about that. And we also have guns. You can straight up destroy the guns that are on the ship. I mean, it's a temporary thing. After the battle, they come back, but for the purposes of the battle, you can destroy those. So I'm going to end up getting returned to port, which is whichever one's the nearest one for me, unfortunately. I don't know where that may be. I can, I think, bring up a list somewhere. No, I can't. Not that one. One of the interfaces, though I can't remember which one it is, at the bottom of the screen, will bring up a list of all my ships. So where have I wound up? I'm back at Guernica. Interesting. So what ships do I have? Because I should that should have sunk mine now. Being a pirate, obviously you don't get those back. That's this guy's into fishing. He's not what I was left. I'm left to the guy with the anchor, not the hook. That would be it. Enter your dockyards. So what have I got left? We've got I have my rank 33. Oh, this is the ship I had. I'm guessing I must have had 2 durability on that. I think I bought some insurance at some stage. If you have a spare deed for a spare ship, you can consume one of them and increase the durability on the stats. Because this is all my ship stats. If you want to get really deep into the ships, they're very, very technical. Yeah, durability is kind of almost how many lives that ship has. And I guess because I had 1 spare Stralsund, I don't actually lose it when it sinks. Because I now only have 1 durability, if I were to try and undertake that mission again and sink again, I would lose this, and I would lose everything that's in the what do you call this? The cargo hold? I don't know, something like that. In the inventory, let's call it that, because that's what it is. So yeah, you got your heavy round shots, star shots. All these things would probably sink, I think, if that were the case. Or maybe not, actually. I may be wrong on that one, actually. I'm suddenly thinking items like this may get sent to a different hold, but other stuff that are marked specifically as unsecured cargo definitely does get lost. I have a treasure chest. Can I open a treasure chest? I need a treasure chest key. Of course I do. I bet I have to buy that with premium currency. That's something I don't think I've come across before, if I'm honest. You can transfer things between them if ships are in the same port or between, as you saw, like warehouses in ports. You can use them as storage and transfer things between them, but only if everything's in the same place. So if you're wanting to maneuver things about in different vessels and stuff, if you go and capture stuff in your attack ship and then want to put it on board one of your cargo galleon kind of things and take it across the Caribbean somewhere else, you're going to have to bring it to the same port as that and then transfer them across and move them around, which ties back into that lovely crafting and trading and economy system we looked at before. I was hoping to show you the ships a little better than that. I did that rather poorly, I'm afraid, but suffice to say, I do think that's one of the most fun naval combat systems I've seen in a game. Most games just seem to be point trigger at ship, shoot at ship, ship sinks, good job, you win. Whereas this, I don't know, there's a little bit more depth to it. One can, at a cursory glance, one can still say, well, it still has firing arcs, you're still pressing space to point and shoot. It just requires a bit more pointing and shooting, but you've got your buffs, you've got your debuffs, you've got your strategy, you've got your resources, you've got various items you can use. You can flank them, you can hit them from astern to do more damage. It just feels a little bit more tactical than most naval combat that I've found. I should probably also, before we go, one last thing, I guess, touch on the customization of the characters, because I do like the customization. I kind of dig what I've got going on with my character, and all of this is like vanilla stuff in the game. I think the parrot I got from a quest, I think that was a Christmas quest as well at some stage. But everything else is pretty much just either from story quests or just comes in the game by default. If you click customize outfit, most of these hats, there is a crazy amount of hats, and many of them also have like subcategories of customization. Like a bicorn has a trimmed hat, a differently trimmed hat, or with a skull and crossbones on it if you want to go full pirate on it. We've got a whole bunch of different things. We've got different vests to customize that, different shirts there as well. We have different coats, whole crazy range of coats, and most of these then come in different patterns as well, so different styles there. There's quite a lot going on with the customization. And then all of these, then everything has like 2 different colors that you can pick out, different color palettes, and make it all to your liking. It's pretty good. There's a lot going on there, and this is all, as I say, without even going in to the treasure aisle and buying things. And honestly, for some reason the game's given me a bunch of premium currency, and I've looked through the store, and honestly it's not all that I'm looking at and going, I really want to put that on my character. There is a stout tricorn hat. It's kind of okay, I guess, but not too different to the ones that are already in there. A Russian conical hat, not so sure about that. Mohican haircut, no. A pipe? A pipe, really? A tattoo on my back that you can't see because I'm wearing a really cool pirate jacket. Different shirts. Buckled chaps, really? Bermuda shorts. None of these are really working for me. You know, like, more so than is what is already in the game. So, you know, yeah, they're there if you want them. I mean, I guess somehow it's surprisingly easy to get hold of currency without making any effort. I remember looking at it, I think it's like, I think it worked out about £1 was 100 notes or something. They had a weird system where you have to buy the notes, and then, like, well, no, £1 is a note, and a note is 100 points or something like that, I think. Can't remember exactly, but there's a weird system where I guess the notes are probably a tradable unit that you can trade to other players, and then they can be converted to the currency that you can use for things in game. You can buy yourself pets as well in case you want different customizational things. I guess there's a Halloween pet. Why not? Of course there is. Monkey wearing a pumpkin on his head. Sure. You can, I guess, when it comes down to it, buy power, which I suppose is maybe the one thing that could be said against its free-to-play model, is that these are ships. You are straight up buying ships. Some of these are actually kind of good ships as well. For 630, which is more currency than they've just given me, you can buy a fourth-rate ship of the line. This is a humongous ship. It's not a first-rate ship, but it's still pretty big. Yeah, first-rate ships are like the biggest ships that exist. Fourth-rate ships are up there. They're going to be a significant player in any kind of endgame battle. For 1500, which again is more than I have, is a third-rate ship. I don't think they sell first or second-rate ships, honestly. I don't recall having seen them. But they would be presumably they would be more expensive than that. But the fact that you can just drop money on this and buy yourself a third-rate ship is something. But also, in a similar fashion to something like Eve, which I've compared it to already, that ship can then be sunk, and it will be gone. I guess you have 3 durability on this. If I bought the Treason Pirate flagship, I get 3 uses out of my Treason Pirate flagship, or 3 deaths, at any rate, 3 lives on this system, before it is gone altogether. But it can, and probably will, inevitably at some point in its life, be sunk, and then it is gone. If you get in over your head against a bigger... Oh, there is a first-rate ship. Okay, I stand corrected. There is straight up a first-rate ship that is 1650 there. It's not much more than I already have, actually. That wouldn't cost me much to be able to buy. If I were in the Navy, as it were, I would be able to buy a first-rate ship, which apparently is now obsolete, but who knows? I don't know quite what the specific term obsolete refers to in the context of the game. But it's still a pretty big ship. It's still colossal. It is one of the biggest ships in the game, and one of the most powerful. It is the king of the sea, as the description says, and you can just buy that, which there's an invincible first rate there as well, for 1750, which is presumably even bigger and even better. Who knows? So maybe that's not going to sit well with 2 people, but also I can't imagine too many people are just going to be going, yes, I'm just going to buy the biggest ship in the game. But when you consider, I mean, I suppose if you've ever had a look at any of the recipes, the sheer overwhelming amount of collaboration and teamwork and effort that needs to be put in to make just to craft them. You can craft these ships. All the big ships are supposed to be craftable, but they're supposed to require weeks and weeks of coordination and work between many multiples of players with all their different resources, bringing them all together. You know, like guild work, bringing everyone together to build the first-rate ship that your guild will sail proudly and triumphantly into battle. But the fact that you can just buy them maybe makes that a little bit obsolete. Oh well, that's perhaps one of the few marks I can put against it, and also I suppose the ground combat. But it's such an interesting and complex and rich game, and the fact that it's still being supported and indeed played to this day, I think this game makes this game very well worth checking out. And let's say, I think it may be too much, especially the sailing for a lot of players. The idea that, oh, I have a mission that's in Florida, but I'm in Mexico. I now need to sail for like half an hour of real-world time, just cruising the ocean's blue and not really doing anything whatsoever in-game. That's not going to sit well with everybody. It's not going to sit well with quite a lot of players. A lot of players are going to want more out of the game, more to do, but I think for sort of players that get into EVE might well appreciate this thing. I think a lot of people can still sort of enjoy this world. And I think there's a lot to see and experience and like about it, and I think it's something you should probably at least, you know, dip a toe into and check it out, because it is free to play and it is excellent. So there you go, this is Pirates of the Burning Sea. It will always remain, I think, near the top of my list of favourite things I've ever played, really. It's such a wonderful world. But I'm going to leave it there. I've rambled on quite enough and shown things off quite poorly enough, I think, but hopefully it's given you a taste, whetted your appetite for piracy on the ocean's blue, and thank you for joining me. I will see you next time.